It's Momo Monday, and you know what to do. Breathe in. And out. And breathe in. And out. And this one's something of a make good of a promise to a participant in the live stream on Friday. Kind of. Momo had somewhat other plans. This participant asked me to talk about time management. I'm like, okay, I can do that. But this is Momo Monday. It's not totally up to me. Gotta do it through the Tao of Momo. When I was kind of contemplating this, when I was kind of looking at Momo and go, okay, show me the way, guru of fluffiness. And I got the message that no, you're starting in the wrong place. Because Momo's all about softness and hugs and warmth and all that good stuff. And I realized that you can't do time management until you do self-management. Because self-management allows you to set your priorities for time management. Time management is easy. You get a calendar. You use the calendar. You schedule and you stick to the schedule. But you can't schedule effectively until you have realistic priorities, realistic goals, and enough boundaries and sense of self that you can accurately, first of all, see the situation and then accurately predict how long something's going to take. And you can't do that without self-awareness. And there are a lot of people out there, and I'm sure you guys can immediately think of somebody that springs to mind when I talk about this. There's a lot of people out there profoundly lacking in self-awareness. Now, Momo, his fluffiness, is very aware of himself. Momo's whole thing is, I'm in shape, that shape is round. And he's good with that. And nobody's going to tell Momo to be somebody other than himself. Now, there are consequences to that, but it really is a lesson. Momo likes who he is. You're around this cat, you get a real sense. Momo likes who he is. He doesn't want to run around. He doesn't want to jump. He wants to lie there and hug the other cats and groom their little heads and, the abominable snowman. And I will love him and squeeze him, and I will call him George, and I will give him security so he will never feel rejected. It's that kind of thing, right? And that's what Momo wants. And so Momo goes out and gets what he wants. And yeah, he's a cat. But you can apply that to people too. The thing is, there's another step. You don't know what you want until you know who you are. And you can't connect to who you are if there's all these messages around you telling you you're worthless or you're bad or you're sick or you're broken. You hear these messages and this is why I hate the term safe space. What do safe spaces do? They reassert the idea that you are sick and broken and miserable and in need of safety. They're not safe spaces, they're victim spaces. A truly safe space, if they really did what people claim they do, would be a place that was safe to explore difficult and challenging scenarios. It would be a place of honesty, because you don't have safety and security without honesty. You don't have truth without facts. Now, facts alone are not truth. And, security and safety are not necessarily happiness. But you need a jumping off point. You need those foundations to build upon. And so many people are trying to achieve success or greatness or whatever you want to call it, whatever you think your goal is. They're trying to build a penthouse before they lay the foundation. And this is difficult because self-esteem does not, come in a 99-cent download. Self-esteem does not come if you never, preferably leave your house. If you live in a and if you live in a home-based business like me, yeah, you'd like to get out more. But that's not what I mean by leave your house. I mean, even if it's exploring in the internet. Twice a week, this whole month, I've talked to 100 people at a time. And we have had really good discussions. And there's been an exchange of ideas, and people have felt heard, and people have felt included. And it's not that complicated. It's not even that hard. What it requires is, I hate to toot my own horn, but a certain amount of leadership, facilitation is the better word, facilitation that comes with a decently strong sense of self. I know who I am. I know what my limits are. I know what my boundaries are. So people can come and talk to me and be able to predict with a relative degree of certainty what will get them a good result and what will get them in trouble. And that's really important. And people cannot do that. People cannot trust you in that regard if you do not have an authentic sense of self. Because if you don't know who you are, nobody else can know who you are. And this is sort of what Momo told me this week, that we're not at time management yet. We're at self-management. We're about building up the self so we can figure out what we got time for. Because that's the big thing. What are my priorities? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? And how, who do I need to bring along? What do I have to do? When do I have to do it? And where do I have to be to get where I need to go? That whole W5H thing. It's so important. And that's what I think part of this frustration, the sense of betrayal that people feel with the gaming press comes from, is how do they know how to navigate this industry if there isn't that authenticity, if there isn't the W5H? And my God, W5H was what we were taught back in, elementary school newspapers. Those little one-page things you do back then? We were expected to do the W5H even then. But it's amazing how many articles fail to give people even the most basic of information, basic facts, because they're too busy jumping to opinion. And you know what opinion is without facts? A lot of hot air. It's a lot of noise. It's full of sound and fury, signifying ego. And that's not useful to people. That doesn't help them build. That doesn't show them the way that they can build confidence and they can get a sense of what they want. Good opinion writing isn't about telling other people what to think. It's about setting an example of how to think for oneself. And this is where we come. How do we do that? First and foremost, the most important thing, you need at least one thing you like about yourself that you don't want to change. Momo likes that he's round and soft. And so, we cut back his food, he'll just sleep more. We try to get him to exercise, he just lies down. You cannot force that cat to change. And there are certain things that I like about myself that you should like about yourself. Everybody has things that they like about themselves. And that is your anchor. That is your safe house. That is your safe space. That thing that you like, that you're happy with, that you don't want to change. And if somebody wants to change that in you, they shouldn't be in your life. And I know with families and all that stuff, that can be difficult. But there's a difference between somebody being physically in your life and somebody being emotionally and spiritually in your life. But you got to decide what you like about yourself before you can set those boundaries. Super, super important. When you find that few things, and hopefully it's more than one, but most people have to start with one. Walk before you run. Once you get that one thing, maybe it'll connect to another thing, and maybe it'll connect to that other thing. Once you start training your brain and your heart to see the good in yourself, shutting out all those noises around you that tell you you're bad, and find the thing. It could be kindness. It could be intelligence. It could be you're good with your hands. It can be you're very artistic. It can be you're good at fixing machines, or you're very knowledgeable about chemistry. Anything like that. That is your grounding. That is something you are confident is a positive about yourself. Now, I'm sure people right now are going, yeah, but then there's that guy that always has to be the smartest person in the room. No, if you're assured of something, if you really believe it, you don't need to get validation from external sources. That's what we talk about when we talk about internal locus of control, the idea that you can influence what happens in your life. And all this comes from the idea that there are things that you like about yourself. So once you get that, then you can start thinking about the things that you don't like about yourself. It's funny that somebody mentioned time management, because for me, the thing that drove me crazy about myself for a really long time, and it's still something I need to work on, is I end up being late for a lot of things. And it's not just that I'm busy, it's that I had to stamp out those people pleaser tendencies where I had to try to do all the things for all the people and not complain and sit there and allow other people to give me an excuse to be late. Because I'd rather be late and look like a fool myself than stand up for myself when people are slowing me down. But it's also, trying to cram too many things into a day. And so that's something I've decided I have to change. I have to work on. It's not acceptable to be late for things all the time. Sometimes you can't help it. But when you've done your best and it just didn't work out, and when you kind of let it slide, and you're deciding that it's just not important enough for you to show up on time. And sometimes that's a valid thing. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're 15 minutes late or even an hour late. Sometimes it matters very much. When you got to catch a plane, that matters. But you have to recognize it matters, and you have to believe it matters. And the only way to believe that anything matters is to believe that you matter. Because if you don't matter, if you don't feel good about yourself, then you have no encouragement, no motivation to actually do well. That voice inside your head that is telling you you're going to fail no matter what you do convinces you that success is not attainable. And that's when you start going against your better nature. And that's when you start stabbing people in the back. And that's when you start lying to people. That's when you start betraying your friends. That's when you start using people. There are a lot of good people out there who do bad things. And it's not necessarily because they're desperate, because let's face it, if you live in North America, true desperation, like that food and shelter desperation, is a relatively rare state. We induce that state in ourselves because we're too comfortable. And instead of doing positive things to pull us out of our comfort zone for personal growth, too many people are addicted to the drama because it makes them feel like they matter. When everything's blowing up around you, it seems exciting. But then when you're alone with your thoughts and it's quiet, you feel bad. And the reason you feel bad is you know what you did. You know you didn't act like your best self today. And that's the other thing. Every day's a reset. Every hour can be a reset, because that breaks the cycle of beating yourself up. And beating yourself up, there is a difference between self-criticism that is productive and beating yourself up. Self-criticism is, I know I can do better and I'm going to do better. And feeling bad right now is motivation to do better next time because I know I can. Beating yourself up is I'm a piece of garbage, and then all the excuses start. Oh, my mother did this, my father did this, my boss did this. At the end of the day, like I said, we have very comfortable lives here. Your life is likely not in jeopardy if you do or do not do a thing. And the minute you start blaming other people for your choices, you are abdicating control, you are abdicating accountability, you are giving up your own agency. And you have no one to blame for that but yourself. That was a choice. And a lot of people have a really hard time realizing that because they're stuck in that victim mentality. And if you were bullied as a kid in any way, you risk having a victim mentality. And a victim mentality will make you less productive. It will make you a less effective communicator. It will make you, it will wear you out and wear you down and mean you don't meet your commitments and you disappoint yourself because you're being defined by what was done to you as opposed to what you do. And the only way out of that, as somebody who had to do it multiple times, this is an ongoing journey. It's that scene in God of War where Kratos gets kicked down to the underworld and he has to claw his way back out. Literally, with the swords and hands pulling out to grab him back down. If you got people in your life who are those hands, pulling you back down, they got to go. You got to slay those demons. Not literally, but those people are reflections of yourself. Those people are reminders that there's things that have to change. And they can change. There is not anything wrong with you if you decide that a person is not good to keep close. One of the most profound things I ever heard about analyzing people from a literary perspective, and I'll adapt it to game levels. Some people are a word in your life. Some people are a sentence. Some people are a paragraph. Some people are a chapter. Some people are the whole book. And it's okay if a person is just a sentence in your life. They come, they give you something important that you carry forward, that sentence stays, but you don't need to write a whole paragraph with them. And some people are so desperate for contact, they are so desperate for acceptance, they are so desperate for approval that they create this massive run-on sentence and nobody can understand what they're trying to say. And with video games, it's, some people are a Goomba or a Koopa. Some people are a level boss. Some people are a party member. Some people are the final boss. There's very few final bosses in life, though. That's why they're final boss. But people play different roles. But you can't tell who someone is to you until you know who you are to you. And this has been one of these things. I keep coming back to this. And what's frustrating is the difficult thing about being aware of this is when you start knowing who you are better, everything starts changing. So you go through these periods of intense upheaval. And people start blaming you. People start criticizing you. People start trying to lie to you and deceive you and manipulate you and coerce you to doing what they want you to do. But a true friend will never make you do something against your will. A true friend may push you, may challenge you, but it's the sort of thing where, I just started watching that show Scandal. And in the first episode, it's like, do you want me to talk you into this or talk you out of this? That's what most of our engagements are with people. If we're completely honest, we decide whether the advice we get from other people is going to be talking us into this or talking us out of this. But who made that choice? I did. You did. Not the people around you, you. At the end of the day, it's your call. And if you embrace that, you can do great things. You can meet your goals. You can manage your time. You can be productive. You can wake up in the morning knowing what you're going to do today, which means you're not spending an hour trying to psych yourself to get out of bed because you feel terrible and depressed. But this work, there is no shortcut to this work. And that's not a bad thing. Some days it's hard, but it's worthwhile. And it's nice when you feel like, okay, this is going to be hard. With Lady Bits, there's going to be challenges. It's a lot of work, but I'm looking forward to it. And the reason I'm looking forward to it in a way that I haven't looked forward to some other projects I've done is it's my choice. I designed it so I feel good about it. I feel like it is an honest and positive extension of who I am. It is an authentic product. And I didn't let anybody take away what I thought was right. I'm bad for that because I try to give people the consideration I don't feel like I get. What I realized is that means I'm giving away all the consideration. Nobody has to consider me because I don't insist on it. People will only give you what you feel you're worth. And that means you got to feel like you're worth something. Nobody is going to come along and make you feel like you're worth something. They may say, I see value in you, but you're not going to believe it unless you have those things about you that you actually like. And it's amazing to me how many people, and I have asked them, what do you like about yourself? Where can we start? They don't know. They don't have a single thing. And that's not Momo. Momo is a very self-assured cat. Momo has his likes and dislikes and knows how to voice them, metaphorically. So I hope that kind of answered the question in an indirect way. And we can do time management later, but I wanted to lay the foundation because this feels more right now. And partially it's because I don't feel like I've managed my time especially well this month. I'm really worn out. And part of that was because a lot of things came together into a perfect storm of busyness. And what was sacrificed was sleep and gaming time. Oh my God, I haven't really played a video game, like really sunk my teeth into it in about a month and a half, and I'm feeling it. Like I'm feeling like something's missing. I want to be able to just read a book. I want to be able to play a game, not because it's for work, just to be, you know. I am going to have to take that time. I'm going to have to find the time because it's important. But, you know, I know that's there and I know I want that and I know it's worthy and so I can go out and get it. If you don't have that, and, you know, one of the things about doing something that matters to you, especially where money's concerned, is you really see the people who have your back. You really see the people who will come through for you in a pinch, and the people who make it about themselves because they don't love themselves. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get rid of those people, but you have to be aware of who they are. If you're constantly disappointed by the people around you, it's because you're not seeing them for who they really are. And that might be because they don't let you, and that might be because you won't let yourself. But this is the Tao of Momo. This is the wisdom of the fuzzy guru. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll close out. Breathe in. And out. And breathe in. And out.